to address the COVID at-home testing coverage requirements that were just announced mid-January by the Biden administration through an executive order. These requirements make it so that insurance companies that are commercial insurance, meaning employer group plans, whether that's large or small groups, self-funded or fully insured plans, we can talk more details, but that just means essentially all employer-based plans, and commercial individual policies. So that means the marketplace and off-market insurance plans are subject to this rule. Medicare and Medicaid are not subject to this rule. Short-term plans are not subject to this rule. Health sharing ministries are not subject to this rule. So it's not all insurance, but it's most insurance plans that most individuals will have. Medicaid or Badger Care in the state of Wisconsin, this rule does not apply to, so people on Badger Care will not be eligible for the at-home test kits unless their HMO specifically decides that they'd like to cover those. So commercial insurance and individual marketplace or off-market plans are now required as of January 15th to cover 8 at-home COVID tests per month that are approved tests. So there's a certain number of manufacturers that have approved tests, and these can be purchased at a pharmacy, big box or small box, based on supply. Most insurance companies initially announced on January 15th or shortly thereafter that they would offer reimbursement. So you would buy the test or tests, then you would get a receipt and send it into your insurance company and ask for reimbursement. Most companies are following the federal mandate of $12 per test as coverage. So if the test you purchase is more than $12, most insurance carriers are just covering the $12. And you're eligible to buy 8 of those per month. You do need to certify that you are using the test for personal use, not for employment purposes when you pick up the test. That mandate came into effect January 15th. So even if you purchase tests after January 15th, you'd be eligible for the reimbursement. Most of the insurance companies were not set up on January 15th to offer those tests at a pharmacy just like you would get a prescription. The infrastructure just wasn't there to do that. So most of them were doing the initial reimbursement. Now I have started to see a lot of the insurance companies are working with their network pharmacies to run the tests just like you would a prescription. So just like you got a prescription from your doctor's office, you bring it to the pharmacy, they fill it, they run it through your insurance pays their portion. In this case, you don't pay a portion, but with a prescription, you would pay whatever portion you have to pay. It's been very interesting. Some of the network pharmacies that I've spoken to, even though they're in network, have been needing or requiring a prescription. Sometimes the pharmacist can write that prescription, which I find really interesting. That's kind of a new territory for us. It reminds me a lot of vaccines and how you technically need a prescription, but it's at a pharmacy, so the pharmacist who has a pharmacy degree can technically write that prescription for you. Most insurance carriers now at this point, you're able to get it through the insurance, but some are just not set up for it yet. And some then you have to submit for reimbursement. So always check with your insurance company. The pharmacies I know are working as hard as they can to figure this out. There's a lot of moving pieces. We have several hundred insurance plans that this applies to just in the Milwaukee area alone, let alone the state. So everyone's moving as quickly as they can to fulfill this mandate that came down immediately. The other note I wanted to make is because this does not apply to Medicare or Medicaid, those people on those plans will not be eligible for reimbursement, again, unless the plan that they are in, whether it's a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicaid plan, specifically reimburses for that, and they've chosen to do that. So most of those people won't have coverage for the at-home tests, but they will continue to be covered for the PCR tests at various testing sites, pharmacies, state sites, variety of private sites that do the COVID testing. So those are still available to those people. So check with your insurance company, speak to the pharmacist. Hopefully if you have when you have coverage, you're going to an in-network pharmacy. So an in-network pharmacy will have the best chance of having that run through the insurance right away rather than having to mess around with reimbursement. But if you did purchase tests, contact your insurance company about their method for reimbursement so you can get reimbursed for those tests. Again, it's 8 tests per month that you're eligible for. Most insurance companies are reimbursing a max of $12 per test. Interestingly, the tests always come in a pack of 2, so that's actually $24, but the way the executive order was written, it's $12 per test. I hope this video was helpful.